My name is Eric Sheptock, and I'm a relatively well-known homeless advocate. Long story short, I was the subject of a major media frenzy in December of 2010.
Oh, wow.
And it was because of the fact that I use social media to advocate for the homeless. When I was interviewed by the Washington Post, I had 4,548 Facebook friends. And after the article came out on December 13th, I gained 600 plus friend requests in a single day. And I couldn't fill them all out because they stopped me at 5,000.
Oh, wow.
And then I had to begin a Facebook fan page. And so now I have two Facebook pages, one with 5,000 people, one with 1,200, and a fan page with almost 7,000 people on it. And in Twitter, I went from 840 followers on the day of the article to now having 1,450. But anyway, I'm very well known for my homeless advocacy and for using the social media to advocate for the homeless. But I actually am homeless myself, and I stay right here at the shelter called the Community for Creative Nonviolence, or CCNV. And it was begun by some Vietnam-era vets who renounced violence, thus the name. And but the way it was created was actually rather neat, because this building used to be the Federal City College, and it got shut down, and the college moved, and they had a name change. They're now the University of the District of Columbia. And anyway, this building sat vacant for a number of years, and it's a very big building. It's got the 3 floors above ground plus the basement, and about 700 homeless people per night were coming into this vacant building and squatting in here. And the feds came in to get them out, and then a guy named Mitch Snyder actually organized the homeless to protest against the feds, and then Mitch went on a hunger strike, and after 51 days, he almost died from it. And on the 51st day of his hunger strike, Ronald Reagan finally caved in and signed this building over to D.C. government and had it renovated and turned into a shelter. And the renovation was completed right around 1988. And it's been a shelter ever since for about 23 years. And Mitch and Ronald Reagan signed a covenant to keep this building as a shelter for 30 years. Until 2018. Wow. Now, as of 2018, which is kind of right around the corner, we're not sure what's going to happen, but knowing DC government and just based on what they've done at other shelters, I'm pretty sure they're going to use every tool they have at their disposal to try to shut it down in 2018. Now, I don't want to over-advocate for shelter. I mean, housing is the goal. So you don't want to over-advocate for shelter, you know. So if they can solve the homeless problem altogether by 2018, more power to them. But I seriously doubt they're going to do that, and so we are going to need to have some shelter. And D.C. has close to 7,000 homeless people, so about 1/5 of them stay in this building. This building holds 1,350 homeless people, and in D.C., well, we count the homeless every year. In January 2007, we counted 5,757 homeless. In 2008, it was 6,280. In 2008, it was 6,044. In 2009, it was 6,228, and then in 2010, it was 6,539. And the numbers for this year, 2011, haven't come out yet, but they'll come out next month. But it keeps going up, and the significant thing is that in September of 2008, the previous mayor, Adrian Fenty, a man, he created the Permanent Supportive Housing Program here in D.C., and in spite of that program being created in September of 2008, the number of homeless still increased, and here in the D.C. metro area, the family homelessness is skyrocketing. As a matter of fact, family homelessness in the D.C. metro area which includes eight counties surrounding D.C., increased by 25% from January of 2009 to January 2010. And I'll end with this piece by saying that this past Friday, March 11th, 2011, I was in a human services hearing at DC Council, and it was in front of Councilman Jim Graham, who has oversight of the Human Services Department, and there were 4 young mothers who came and testified, and they told some very terrible stories of how that at least a couple of them, they went down to the Virginia Williams Intake Center for families, and they said, we have small children, 5 years old and younger. We're homeless. We have nowhere to go. Can you help us? The rule is, if there's no shelter space, they're supposed to put you in a motel, according to D.C. law. But the employees at the Family Intake Center did nothing. They gave these women bus tokens and told them to ride the city bus all night, which is against the rules, and that was terrible. And then there was one woman who actually had a baby in February of 2011, just last month. And she went in with her 1-month-old baby, and she began to tell her story of how that she went down to the Family Intake Center while she was pregnant. They said, we had nowhere to put you. She went back after having the baby, and they said, we still have nowhere to put you. And this mother, with her newborn baby, was actually sleeping in the stairwell of an apartment building that has no security guards. She actually had to sneak into the building and sleep in the stairwell with her newborn baby, and that to me is atrocious. But the councilman was actually irate about that, and he said, in spite of our budget problems, this city is not that broke that we can't put a young mother and her newborn baby into a motel room, and so that actually is shameful. It's actually an indictment on the city. All right.